The second day of Eagles training camp is in the books, and we are here to talk about it all, from Jordan Davis's slimmed-down body to Quinyon Mitchell's potential new role and a whole lot more, with Fran Duffy and Zach Berman in studio, coming up next. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Thursday afternoon, presented by Doodad Dental and TrueMark Financial. Bo Wulf, Fran Duffy, Zach Berman. We all took in the second day of Eagles training camp. We've got a lot to talk about. I want to start, though, by reminding you that if you want to become a diehard and check out all the articles and have access to the events that are coming up, now's a great time. $36 training camp special. And guess what? If you're a diehard, you can sign up for the Sixers film event coming up on July 29th. You could go to the Flyers Q&A on August 4th. Now, you don't need to be a diehard to come to the Ospreys, but I think you should. And really, if you're, a sicko enough to come to the Ospreys, I imagine you're already a diehard. But tickets are going fast. Only a few left. Please check that out on allphly.com/events. Gonna be a big episode, the Ospreys. You don't want to miss it. Okay, Fran, we haven't seen you since the start of camp. How you doing?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, when was the last time we did a 3-man weave in person? It's been almost a month.
I know.
Yeah,
at least. Who knows how many more of these we have? We gotta.
That's right.
Savor these.
The last one we did was drafting the teams. It was drafting, yeah.
Right down the middle. Love it.
Yeah, that's what we would. That was the last
That's
time.
the one
we
you
were all
came
together.
back from vacation for.
Yeah,
On
right.
Friday.
Yeah, didn't get a vacation day for that, by the way. Yeah, so, yeah. I used a vacation day, and yeah. Anyways,
Working on vacation is what you do
yes,
best.
yes. You sound like my wife right now. Yes.
Have you ever in your life used all of your vacation days?
Never. But that's yeah, but yeah, no, I have not. I have not.
Okay. All right, that'll do it for the PHLY Eagles podcast. 2 days of training camp in the books. We'll see you on Saturday. Okay. Fran, because you were there yesterday, and we didn't get to hear what you thought, and you've now seen 2 days. Let's start with you. Your big takeaway from the first 2 days of watching camp so far.
I mean, it's got to be the rookie first-round pick, Jihaad Campbell. Obviously, we had the big news yesterday that you guys did a great job covering here on the show of the announcement that he's not just cleared for the start of camp, but an active participant, obviously mixing in primarily with the twos. But we saw him a lot today. Honestly, he was one of the guys I wanted to laser focus in on today. And I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far. I'm really excited about what he could be early on in the season for this Eagles defense. Standing along the sidelines, watching practice this afternoon or this morning, Jeff Nyberg presented to it was Jeff, myself, and EJ Smith, and Jeff says, "How soon until we start seeing him mixed in with the one?"
Yeah.
And I said Monday. I kind of think it might be like as soon as Monday we start, just because like with the he doesn't look like he's swimming out there.
Sure.
Like mentally, I feel like he's locked in. I'm sure that it's that he's still making steps in that direction. It's not all the sunshine and rainbows for him, but to show like the confidence with which he's playing in right now, like with which it seems like he's playing in right now, I'm excited to see more.
So when you say that you've been impressed with what you've seen so far, in 2 days of practice without pads, what is it that you have seen that has been impressive?
Obviously, the physical tools stand out.
Yes.
Right? He's big, he's long, he's athletic.
Especially with the twos.
Yes,
It's, it's like this guy from the Monstars is over here with the rest of the regular jabronis,
Well, and honestly, watching, and this isn't against, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., but watching Jeremiah Trotter Jr. with the ones, there were a couple of throws today that Jalen Hurts made that were outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was one where he was rolling to his left, and he feathered a throw over Jeremiah Trotter Jr. right into the hands. I believe it was Devontae Smith, right? And
That was the Goddard.
Okay, so it was to Goddard. So he makes the throw to Goddard. It was a great throw.
Yeah.
But he gets it just over the fingertips
Right,
of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And that's a play where you're like, that's where the length comes into play for a guy like Jihaad Campbell, where he's got that ability to disrupt those passing lanes because of those long arms. For a guy that moves that well, as long as everything is good mentally, and again, like so far so good on that front, it seems like I'm excited to see more.
Zach, one of the great things about talking to Vic Fangio today is, you get the truth serum, right?
Sure.
And so all of the discussion points that we had yesterday, we sort of got real answers on from Vic Fangio. What did he say about Jihaad Campbell coming in ahead of schedule?
Yeah, he said he was surprised by it. He said they were telling him it was going to take longer. He thinks the training staff essentially overpromises. They underpromise and overdeliver, so they look good.
Right.
Which was a funny way of framing it.
Right.
Yeah, and they do look good. It's like I've always said this. Like the Eagles are always like, we don't want to put timelines. Give very generous timelines, and so when the player beats it, it's like they look good. Chip Kelly used to do the opposite. Chip was like, he'll be back next week, and Michael Kendricks would be
threw Earl Wolf under the bus.
Yeah. Right. But no, it was a surprise to Vic Fangio, who was also not over the top with Jihaad Campbell because they weren't in pads. But I have the same takeaway as Fran. Like, you just see him physically, he doesn't look like a linebacker, or he just his frame. And you compare it to Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And far be it for me to talk about someone's frame, but like the difference there is stark between those two. Nolan Smith said today that Jihaad Campbell looks like Nolan Smith would if he played inside linebacker. And he said he looks like a real SEC inside linebacker.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your, do you agree with Fran that maybe as early as Monday he's getting first team reps?
By rule, I try to agree with Fran on just about everything. But I think that, Monday would be a good time frame for that.
What do you think? So let's just, so everybody knows, no practice tomorrow.
No, there's a walkthrough tomorrow, which is, and I say this for semantic purpose. Yeah, there's no practice we get to see, but they're not off. And the reason I didn't mean to correct you, but the reason I did that is because technically there's a certain amount of practices you need before you can wear pads. And I think the walkthrough would technically count in that ramp up period.
So then do you think that Saturday will be pads? Because then Sunday they don't have practice.
Exactly.
So then maybe Monday's pads, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I was wondering if Saturday would be pads, or if they came back from the off day and then more pads, and then you have like a taper down day Tuesday, or if they taper up Monday and then they wear the pads Tuesday and then they're off Wednesday. It's a good question. It's
kind of a fun throwback that it used to be that like the first round pick was always the most important storyline of training camp, right? Like, how's the first round pick going to look? And coming off the Super Bowl, expecting that Jihaad Campbell wasn't going to be back until mid-August, it didn't feel like that was the juice this year. And then we get thrown back into it. It's fun, and he has been absolutely the story of the first 2 days.
I mean, it was around this time in camp last year where Quinyon Mitchell showed up one day and found out, like, surprise, you're going in with the ones and the nickel.
Right.
Like, I wonder, like, is it the first day of pads? Could it be Saturday? Could it be Monday? Like, and I think, I don't want to speak for EJ. I want to say EJ said, like, oh, maybe like next Thursday. And I was like, I'm taking the under. I will take it that it happens sooner for Jihaad.
Throw EJ under the bus. But.
Well, or just it was part of the conversation. It was I'm fascinated to see how quickly that happens.
Okay. The second thing that you mentioned there that I know is you want to talk about, Zach. And listen, I don't need to talk about Jalen Hurts' performance every day in training camp. I don't think it moves the needle a ton, but he did look good today.
Yeah, I was afraid to bring that up when you said, what do you want to talk about? And it's like, I'm afraid to come on the show sometimes to talk about the starting quarterback. But the starting quarterback did look really good today. He's sharp. And, he was getting rid of the ball. Like, efficiently, he knew where to go with it. There were 2 plays that really stood out. The pass to Dallas Goedert that you mentioned, that was a tight window pass that he hit, and then he rolled out and hit Devontae Smith down the left sideline on a nice pass as well. Again, I'm not like pointing out the no interceptions, but the ball's not really in harm's way too often. There was one ball that was tipped by Bond
at the very end of practice.
Yeah, at the very end of practice.
Now,
but
the flip side to that is there are times, even in like 7-on-7, when the ball's not out. Like,
there were a couple
rolls out, right?
And
so that is the, if you're thinking about the big conversation from the middle part of last year, are they just telling him to not put the ball in harm's way? There's a little bit of that, but
But it's
I mean, now's the time to try stuff, right? In
yeah,
theory.
true. But I mean, there really aren't that many incompletions. Which if you kind of compare it, there were practices his first full year starter here where the ball wasn't like there were few and far completions. Like the completions were few and far in between. So it stands out to me how efficient he is when he's out there.
Okay. You thought he looked good?
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I mean, I agree with you that there were a couple where I ended up writing down like, all right, like scramble situation. There was a catch. I want to say AJ made it against Kelee Ringo early on where it was a scramble to the left. And I feel like it's one of those.
That's good coverage.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those where, Zach, I think you and I talked about it in terms of like some of the things that can trap people when it comes to training camp coverage is like, oh, like such and such corner didn't have a good day today. It's like, oh yes, Kelee Ringo allowed a catch to AJ Brown in that situation, but it was like 8 seconds into the down.
Exactly.
You know, so there were some of those you got to take with a grain of salt. But I thought that overall, yeah, like I thought Jalen looked sharp. There were 3 or 4 throws where I was like, that's a nice ball from Jalen. I wrote that down in my notes.
How do you feel about the other quarterback so far?
Your boy Tanner McKee looks solid. Do you agree?
Pretty good.
Yeah. The throw he made to Terrace Marshall.
We can talk backup quarterbacks. Right.
Yeah, because we're going to see Jalen Hurts all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yes.
Okay, yeah.
This is when we see those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. We spent all summer last year talking about Jalen Hurts isn't throwing interceptions, and then he threw one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in the first week of the regular season. Like, it just doesn't matter for him.
Okay.
Sorry.
I get it from that standpoint. Yeah. I will say again, Tanner has looked pretty good so far through 2 days. Have not been overly moved by Kyle McCord. We haven't seen a ton from DTR. Looked fast running to the perimeter on one play.
It is tough, like the way that they're handling that so far right now. It's like every other snap for those third team guys. But
they get 2 snaps in a team.
Yeah, McCord had EJ Jenkins wide open for what should have been a touchdown and just airmailed it.
Yep.
But otherwise, I think he has looked better than DTR.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the preseason for those 2 guys.
Okay. Zach, let's talk a little bit more about some of the truths that Vic Fangio gave us today. Let's talk about Quinyon Mitchell. What did he say about why Quinyon is working on the left side as opposed to playing on the right side?
Yeah, good question by you here. He said that basically they need to prepare him for the chance that he'll be playing receivers on different sides. So either traveling or if there's a receiver that primarily lines up on a certain side and they want to see that guy. But it's very much the treatment that they give their bona fide number one corner, and that's what he is. So yeah, it was a good question, and Vic explained it very matter of factly that they need to prepare him to cover wideouts on both sides.
And he said, Vic, that he has, he's obviously done it all over the course of his career as a defensive coordinator. That he's had guys travel, but I do wonder, Fran, last year it was so nice for him that he basically had these 11 guys.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to worry about changing guys up, and they could just all handle their assignments. Do you think it would complicate things to have Quinyon following?
I mean, it's definitely more complicated than just set it and forget it.
Right.
But I don't think it's anything where it's like, oh, they're never going to get past this. I think it really will come down to what is their ultimate faith in Kelee Ringo / Adoree Jackson, whoever's holding down that other spot. Do they feel like, all right, we can leave that person at right corner, leave Quinyon at left corner, and then shade coverage that way in those high leverage situations, and leave Quinyon on an island? Or are we going to truly travel Quinyon where he's going to go left corner, right corner, slot at times? It is going to be fascinating to see that play out.
And do you think that Quinyon is, I mean, we'll see, but after what you saw as a rookie, do you think he's ready for that responsibility? I mean, that's a tough assignment.
It is a tough assignment. I think he's ready. I mean, look, there's only so much you can do other than like throw him in the pool and see if he can swim. I think when you're looking at it, we saw situations last year where obviously we spotlighted, collective we spotlighted the matchups against Terry McLaurin because McLaurin always lined up to the far left. Quinyon always lined up to the far right. So you got to see him go against a Pro Bowl quality receiver in a high volume of snaps over the course of 2 games. Now you get to see, more than that. You're going to see on a weekly basis, potentially, him going up against the other team's number 1 receiver. And how does he look? That's going to be fascinating to watch.
All right. Next up on the Vic front, Zach, Cooper DeJean. Why did he explain, or what did he say about why Cooper has been playing safety in the base?
Yeah, similar to what we discussed yesterday, that they want him to play every snap on defense. They don't want him to come off the field. So in order for him to play every snap, he's going to have to play those, 10, 15% of the snaps that they have in base. Vic thinks he can play safety, And similar to what you said yesterday, a lot of it's dictated by who the other guys in the secondary are. So, for instance, and Vic didn't say this explicitly, but he said
He
it
sort of
implicitly.
He did. He said
impli-
whichever one of those guys we have more faith in.
Exactly. So it's like, let's say for the sake of conversation, Drew McCoop is the starting safety week 1, and Kelee Ringo is the starting corner. Which one of those do they have less confidence in? That's the guy who Cooper DeJean is going to play. I don't think it'll be which one can Cooper play better. It's which of the other guys is the weak link there.
If that's the case, though, then will we see days where Cooper DeJean is lining up at corner in base?
Well, we saw it a little in the spring. I think we eventually will.
Yeah.
But to me, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm an Eagles fan, I would rather it play out that he plays those snaps on the outside than at safety, because I think if you are admitting that you don't have a ton of confidence in the starting safety, that is a little bit worse to me than admitting that you think that Kelee Ringo is clearly the third corner, or Adoree Jackson.
I think the Eagles would prefer long term for it to be safety, just from a money standpoint.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I think
probably better for just the general attention paid to the exciting mics if they're playing safety together.
That's true too. That's a good point.
But
yeah, I mean, I think from a football perspective that I would rather him play safety.
Yeah.
When you're in base and just Cooper's skill set, I would probably want him around the ball more, right? Being physical, being active in the middle of the field. If you're a boundary corner, you're covering a side of the field, right? And I believe Cooper can do that. But when a team's like, if the Eagles are in base, it's typically a team that's playing 12 personnel, and in those cases, you probably want Cooper closer to the ball or covering a tight end as opposed to on the perimeter. That's just my perspective.
I think general roles inside Vic Fangio's scheme, like safety is closer to nickel in terms of like communication, responsibilities in the middle of the field, those kinds of things. So I think there's something to that. It's also like important to know too how little this team played base last year. Like even 2-12 personnel, you still saw. I mean, Cooper DeJean would come down and he was playing like off the edge at times against those types of sets.
And you talked to Cooper as well today, Zach. What did he say about this?
He likes the challenge, right? He wants to be out there doing everything. He feels good that the coaches have this confidence in him. He was pretty generic about that. He spoke more about some other stuff, like he had a great offseason. He can't pick his favorite thing because he got to do so many things and meet so many fun or so many cool people. I think the best thing he did was probably the Exciting Mike's show here. But that he did quite a bit.
He was asked about Exciting Mike's.
He was asked if they're going to do it in season, and he said they're going to see. He said they do have an off day. He says he doesn't want anything that's going to take away from the team, but he said they do have an off day. So
okay, and Reed talked about it as well.
He spoke about
Blankenship, of course.
Yeah, he spoke about Cooper DeJean. He didn't necessarily speak about the podcast when I was there.
Okay.
The way to kind of paint the picture for the audience, there's someone at the podium, there's someone behind in like a mixed zone, and they're talking at the same time, and so you have to make a choice. Now the mistake, I suppose it was a mistake. Typically in past years, the Eagles have put everything up on their YouTube page. This year, they're not putting any of the mix zone stuff up.
Really? I thought Devontae was up yesterday. No, I could be wrong.
Well, Devontae is a big draw view-wise. You can't put anything.
Interesting.
So if it's not one of the A-listers, you're not going to put it up on the YouTube page because that's going to affect the algorithm.
Let me see here. Well, on the Eagles press conferences yesterday, they just had. It was Saquon, AJ, Lane, Jordan Mailata, and so I was trying to find Zach Bond from yesterday, and I couldn't find his stuff. So
so now you're gonna focus exclusively on mixed zone.
But this is the problem. If you really want me to get into this,
this is good inside baseball.
Yes,
yeah. I sit down for the show. I'm not tall. I think I've mentioned that once or twice or 800 times in the past few years, and if I don't get a good spot.
Oh, I see.
I can't hear in the mix. Like,
I know.
There's, and look, all the TV stations have a camera there, and there's reporters in there, and so unless you're hanging out in the mix, if you're late arriving in the mix zone, I don't have John Clark's length. Like, I can't get my my phone in there to
Okay.
to pick up the audio, and I certainly can't ask questions, right? Unless I come around. So I have a move where I go
You
around.
open up the circle.
I go around the back,
It starts
and so
as a bit of a semicircle.
yeah,
And then you expand it.
exactly. So
expand the arc.
I try to do that. I wasn't as effective for that with DeJean.
Okay.
I was able to kind of.
So have you thought about just camping out at the mix zone? And
Yeah, but I want to
hear.
hear the podium. Now I can
You're
go
gonna
back
hear
and
it,
listen.
yeah.
I can go back and listen on the podium. And so that's why, like Jordan Davis, I was very interested in Jordan Davis today, but I got up and went to Cooper.
Okay.
One, because I knew you were there.
Well, in the
but
past, I would just look where you are, and
exactly.
I'll go to the other one.
Yeah. And so that's how I was. So I went to Cooper, but I didn't get all of Reed and Cooper.
Okay, that's good stuff. All right, we're going to talk about Jordan Davis's body coming up after the break. Also, Vic Fangio making another nice, not so veiled comment about this patty cake training camp that the Eagles are having. All that good stuff coming up just after this break. That's my impression of an Empire Today employee. Always looking down, baby. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander endless aisles. Then somehow you're hauling all these materials home looking for an installer and coordinating everything yourself. Like a jabroni. Those big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person who's helping you with flooring, they might have been doing sinks yesterday and they could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. No. That's not what you get at Empire Today. You get flooring experts. Why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It is a whole different ballgame, and they bring that ballgame to your house. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing, plus you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 off discount when using promo code PHLY. You heard that right. $350 with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for full details. Boy, was it hot out there today. All right, Fran, here's an impression of me from yesterday.
Okay.
That's me walking into my house, sweating like a pig because it is feeling like a sauna in there.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. This time of year, this Philly heat, it's no joke.
So, what do I do? Do I go jump in a lake? It's not going to happen. So, I just got a bunch of ice, held it, rubbed it on my face, stuffed it down my shirt, stuffed it down my pants. Only way I could think to cool down.
I mean, stop being the stereotypical dad, though. Turn on the AC. It's time to fire that thing up.
I don't want to be, I want to waste money, be energy efficient.
Well, look, instead of icing yourself out or jumping into a lake, you could just check out Pico's energy-saving rebates. They've got deals on Energy Star cooling equipment that actually work and cut down on your bills.
So, no more ice down my pants?
No, you could skip the ice, save the ice, and you throw in my drinks when I come over.
The same ice?
No, we'll change the ice up.
Okay, fine. That's what's up.
All right, well, just head over to pico.com/ways to save. They've got tips for everything. Heating, cooling, lighting, you name it.
All right, back on the PHLY Eagles podcast, presented by Doodad Dental and TrueMark Financial. Let's talk Jordan Davis. And obviously an important player this season as the Eagles look to replace Milton Williams. It's hard because we have been here before with Jordan Davis coming to training camp, talking about being in the best shape of his career, expecting that that's going to pay off. Even last year, when Vic Fangio continues to point to, Jordan Davis lost a lot of weight as the season went on, was in better shape, he was still playing 10 to 15 snaps a game. On the flip side, you talk to Jordan Davis, he's such a likable guy.
Yeah.
You just root for him. And to hear him talk today, I mean, he does. I don't want to go there again. This is the third year, but he really does look different this year.
He does look in the best shape of his life.
Yeah, I mean, he looks svelte.
Yeah.
He said he lost 26 pounds this summer. And he was asked about, does that change his power? And he said not really, right, Zach? I know you listened to it.
Yeah, just what you said. He said he's still powerful there. It was interesting hearing him talk about the way he went about it. He's been talking about sugary drinks now for 3-4 years. I feel like it's.
I learned that I got to stop drinking my calories. Like I thought you learned that 2 years ago, my man.
Yeah, exactly. But with him, it's like the consistency of it. I think. Look, I don't want to speak for Jordan. I think one of the issues he's might have had in the past. It's like he's gotten to a certain weight, and then he's like, all right, I'm good,
right.
and then.
Well, it's a very human thing.
Or like you get banged up and you're all you're not running as much during the season, things like that. But yeah,
he said it's kind of a maturity thing.
Sure.
Right? So he says he made he says everybody always talks about like your frontal lobe's not developed until you're 25, but he felt like the day he turned 25, all of a sudden he had a little bit more maturity, and it was not just about getting himself in better shape for the Eagles and for his teammates, but just for his life. Like he needs to be in better shape.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's for some guys, it's just harder to be able to keep that way. I feel you, the guy. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, no question. So
you look good.
Well, thanks, but that doesn't mean it is not. I mean, it's a hard thing.
Yeah, but what's going to be interesting? You mentioned how even though he was losing weight throughout the season, the role didn't really change. I think that's the big thing is that by the time you get to a certain point in the season, like your role is your role, and there's not going to be too much unless it's required due to injury that's going to change that role early on. If he earns the trust of the coaches to say like, hey, yeah, I can play more, I can impact playing it 25, 30 snaps a game, 35 snaps a game. If he shows that he can do that, then he'll earn more time.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, I talked to him very briefly after practice. If you're thinking, how is this going to go downhill? It is possible. Allie Love had her baby, so she's not doing rides right now, postpartum. That could affect his willingness to get on the bike.
He can find a different instructor.
I'm just it could be the explanation if things go the other way.
I suppose. I mean, I think all the instructors seem very qualified. Yeah.
Do you believe, Fran, that we will see this version of Jordan Davis, this mythical version that we've expected, where he believes that being this light is actually going to help him as a pass rusher? It's going to let him be a little bit more nimble. Like, do you think we're going to see him be on the field on third down?
I would say like I'm not counting on it. It's not a 0% chance.
Yeah.
Like I'm not completely ruling it out, but I think I would be surprised if he were to reach that pinnacle at this point. Just based off what we've seen. But we know that that's a position. You've highlighted this, is that's a position that can take some time for guys. And so if you combine that development arc with this, there's reason for hope.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because this is something I've been thinking about regarding Jordan Davis, is that so much of the conversation is about the conditioning. And I have wondered if that's a crutch, in the sense that, you guys are astute observers. Like,
I agree with this.
Is his issue the conditioning, or is his issue like technically he's not as, whether it's instinctive or just technically sound in terms of getting to the quarterback? Like, I think sometimes it's like, he wears down. Well, early in games, sometimes it's not as if he's like dominating guards. Yeah, so.
I think we've had this conversation before. I do think that the conditioning, as like this is why he can't stay on the field, is a bit of a red herring. I think the truth is he hasn't been good enough to be a guy who's playing 70% of the snaps.
I think that the conditioning can lead to lapses in technique and lapses in the fundamentals from that standpoint. You see that often in all sports, is when guys are lax in that way, that it can show up in their play. But I agree. I mean, that's one of the things that like does he have flashes of being a dominant player in the run game? Yes. Absolutely. Is he a consistently dominant player in the run game? No, I don't think he's a consistently. Now, he checks the box. He's a better run defender than he is a pass rusher, but he's not a player where it's like, oh yeah, like he's out there, he's going to dominate every single play that someone lines up against him. He's going to hold up against every single double team, no questions asked. I do think that there's a lot of room for growth there. And if this can get him to a point where he's conditioned enough and disciplined enough where he's going to play and reach that ceiling as a run defender, that's a win too for this defense.
I've always thought, and this is a good question for you. Like, if you're a GM, what's a better way to evaluate a prospect? If you say to your staff, put together clips of the 20 best players of this guy's career, or if you just randomly pick, the 18th snap of game 3, the 14th snap of game 5, the 38th snap of game 6, right? So like, it's the question of like optimum performance versus typical performance, because when Jordan Davis, like his wow plays wow you. I think back to the Bucks game, our first year on the show, 2023, when he pushed, he pushes them back there. But then sometimes just snap to snap, it's not there. If he doesn't beat you physically right away, it's like there's not that second move. There's not that counter move.
Yeah. I think that's true, but honestly, I think the whole thing always you can certainly get fooled and sucked in at all positions by a guy's best 20, right? There's whether it's a quarterback or running back, no matter what. I do think that the consistent performance, that's what you're kind of looking for, and what guys typically can be judged by. But that high variance, I think, always has to be brought into the context.
Can I ask you my most concussion uncle question about Jordan Davis?
Sure.
Very pleasant guy.
Yeah.
Is he too nice?
Too nice a guy? No.
To be a defensive tackle.
I don't think so.
Is he too nice?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think of other defensive tackles that we know that are nice. I mean, Vinny didn't play defensive tackle. We played defensive line. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah. Just
there's no such thing.
I think there are concussion uncles out there who would argue that you can't have
a
generally well-meaning defensive lineman.
I think there's no such thing as too nice.
Oh, I disagree. I do think there is. I think there is.
I think that if you have the principle of being nice, don't compromise that principle. So I don't think there's any such thing as too nice.
They've had. I'm not going to say players, but they've had players where they could have used a little bit more Vic and vigor.
Yeah, but I think like let's get an a-hole out there. He's not the best.
I'd say end up with Jason Babin.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you ideally you love the Jordan Mailata, Brian Dawkins, like a switch flips, and it's a completely different personality. But yeah, I think you need a little bit of something.
Okay.
Can I ask? So, staying on the topic of Georgia defensive tackles,
this is where I was going to go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Jalen Carter, no practice once again here today, but was pretty active out in the field.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your guys' take on that.
So, Jalen Carter, who has not been practicing, you have a skeptical look here.
Yeah, go on.
What at the end of each period, or it's not
every
when they would transition of first team, second team, third team.
Yeah,
the defensive players are all like running to the end zone, like getting a little bit of extra conditioning, and Jalen Carter seems to be sort of leading that. So from the sideline, he joins the guys. You've seen him sort of like maybe trying to turn up a little bit of the leadership. At least from a visual standpoint for us to see. Why are you skeptical, Zach?
And it's not that I'm skeptical. It's that I think it's because I've saw a lot of tweets about this, right? And to me, it's like trying to get him to fit into this leadership. It's like he's embracing the leadership role, and I'm like, maybe that's just he's out there having fun. He's at a football practice, right? Like I
see your
my
we're not taking issue with Jalen Carter.
I'm not taking issue with
the framing of, he's really becoming a leader.
He's becoming like the leader of the defense here. And to me, it's like, I mean, I think Jalen Carter enjoys football, right? I think like he likes being at a football practice.
I think that's a fair take.
So my point is I don't think he's like, all right, it's year 3 for me now. I really need to be rallying the guys during practice. I just think it was practice is kind of boring if you're not into it, I imagine, right?
Yeah,
and so it keeps him engaged.
And that's the word I was just going to use, because I was watching him during plays as well, like not even in those situations. He's like prowling the sideline, locked in on the action. Like I think that like he was extremely engaged all day today. I didn't really take note of this yesterday, so I was more watching it today. And I do think like there's an aspect of it when you first see it, you're like, all right, like how performative is it? And that's what I wanted to kind of watch, like the other instances of it. But he was like, if there were guys on the other side of the field, he's yelling at them like, hey, like, come on, let's go.
I think so.
I think it's a good look. I agree with you. Like, I'm not going nuts and saying, oh, he's the leader now. But I think that it was a good look overall.
And I saw him, speaking of Jordan Davis, like just from the far side of the field during individuals, like he and Jordan Davis are like really going through some of the step-by-step stuff of the handwork on
Yep.
pass rush stuff. Like I'm not gonna put too much on it, but listen, he's the best player on the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing if he's involved with all of the guys.
You know what else too? And I mean, now we're all just throwing out examples, so maybe there is something here. So while you guys were at the press conferences in mix zone,
Okay.
I stood at the corner of like where the players are coming in and out, and I'm just kind of like just trying to take note of what's going on the field after practice.
What a scout. I love this. Yeah.
So Jalen Carter was actually he was over with the young offensive lineman. So
Okay.
Joe Douglas was working with.
By the way, how much does Joe Douglas love just being with the offensive lineman? I don't even know if he's watching the rest of practice. He is just hanging out with the offensive
He was
lineman.
just with the offensive lineman, and he was with. So after practice, it was Joe Douglas, Miles Hinton, Cameron Williams, and Holland Pierce.
Holland Pierce, yeah.
The three rookie offense, and Kendall was over there as
Kendall,
well.
yeah.
Drew Kendall was over there. So all four of the rookie offensive linemen were over there with Joe Douglas, and Jalen Carter spent a lot of time over there and was chatting, like working with, not like they weren't like going through stuff because obviously Jalen's can't do everything, but just like talking through things with Holland Pierce and with Williams. Like that's good too.
I don't know. I'm in. I'm out. This is. Jalen Carter is the leader of the team.
Yeah.
He's the best player on the team. He's going to be the defensive player of the year. I'm in.
I love that you did that because that's such like a scout move. You know, I've read these I've read these anecdotes from like scouts and college coaches recruiting where they're like, you know, what I do actually is I just go to his basketball games and I watch him in the layup lines. I don't even stay for the game. I just watch him in the layup lines to see how he comports himself, right? So I love that you're picking up those like little nuggets as they walk off the field.
And honestly, like talking with scouts and I've like gone like 2 games with scouts, like when they're out in the field, they're not watching the plays.
Yeah.
Like if they're watching, you know, Georgia versus LSU,
Sure.
and Georgia's got the ball, LSU's on defense, you might be watching LSU's quarterback on the sideline while the other teams on the. So you're trying to pick up those kind of things that you can't
Get on film.
Yep.
Exactly. I love that.
Interesting. Okay.
Best in the business. I love that.
Thank you.
Or second best, depending on who you ask.
You're asking me. Best in the business.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, you are on the record.
Well, I didn't hear what you said.
I said you are on the record. It's
Yeah, best in the
the second.
No. Fran's outstanding.
Okay. All right, let's take our other break. We'll come back and talk about the rest of the stuff we saw at practice, your daily update on Kelee, Ringo, and Adoree Jackson, and Vic Fangio's evidence for why the Eagles are practicing like wusses. Got a new sponsor to tell you about. And you know what I like? I like a delicious sponsor. Talking about our friends at Righteous Felon. Are you craving the perfect snack that satisfies your hunger and provides the right amount of protein to fulfill your body's daily needs? Well, we've got the solution for you. It's Righteous Felon beef jerky and meat sticks. Righteous Felon traces its roots back to the hallways of Downingtown Middle School and was officially launched by lifelong friends in their apartment kitchen after college. The Exton, PA-based company has been making all-natural, premium quality, better-for-you meat snacks for over a decade and evolved into the region's preeminent jerky brand. The packaging is fun and engaging. The flavors, bold and tantalizing. The texture, tender and soft. These are, without question, the best meat snacks around, and we are only 5% saying that because they're paying us. The jerky and sticks are sold in favorite local retailers like Wawa, where they're running a 2 bags for $10 best value you'll see anywhere deal on jerky right now. Also Giant, Costco, Royal Farms, and thousands of independent stores. What's more, Righteous Felon helps fuel your favorite Philly athletes by working with the nutritionists of each local pro sports team to provide jerky and sticks for players to eat before and after workouts and as a refueling snack during games. So, if Righteous Felon jerky and sticks are good enough to keep Philly's pro athletes performing at the top of their game, it's got to be good enough for you, the average Joe Schmo, too. Now, if you're the kind of person who wants a deal and snacks delivered to your doorstep, you can order online at righteousfelon.com using discount code PHLY20 for 20% off. They have all kinds of cool variety packs and bundles on the site, so it's also the perfect gift for that special meat snack lover in your life. Again, that's discount code PHLY20 for 20% off your order on righteousfelon.com.
Let's now hear from our friends at Dudat Dental, because look, the Eagles are back on the field, and if you want to be, somewhat like a Philadelphia Eagle, like your favorite pro athletes, why don't you go to the dentist that takes care of the Philadelphia Eagles? This is the official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's Dudat Dental Group. This is the team trusted to care for one of our city's greatest assets, and now they're entering their 5th season as the official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles. Dr. D and his team have proudly served Philadelphia and its fans for over 20 years, and they do it all. They've got the robotic implant surgery, Invisalign, veneers, emergencies, and so much more. Locally owned and operated, Dr. D is a proud graduate of North Penn High School and, I like it, Temple University, Temple made, Temple University School of Dentistry. His commitment to the health and confidence of our community runs deep. So whether you're an MVP or a lifelong fan, this is the team you want caring for your smile. Check them out at PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com and discover how you can smile like the birds.
Smile like Mondin.
I'd like to catch up with Smile at some point in the next couple of days.
You know what? Speaking of that, I thinking about yesterday's press conferences, you guys notice AJ Brown has just a beautiful set of teeth. A+ teeth out of AJ Brown.
Polar Jam says Zach Bond has a nice smile as well.
Okay.
Maybe they go to Dr. D.
They probably do.
Good. Super Bowl champions, they all got good teeth. Maybe there's correlation.
Right around the corner. There's they have an office for me right in Old York Road in Abington.
There you go.
Right around the corner.
All right, Zach. What was Vic Fangio's little dig at the Eagles' practice schedule?
Yeah, so he was asked a quick question about how, coming off the Super Bowl, how that affects their practice schedule, and he's like, "What is coming off the Super Bowl? Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?"
His press conferences are so good.
and he's like, "Well, it's a shorter offseason," and he's like, the New England Patriots won 5 Super Bowls in X years,
2011 and 2018, whatever.
And in those years they didn't, they were in the championship game. Right. The Chiefs have won X Super Bowls in X years, and the years they didn't, they were in the championship game. He's like, so no, I don't think
they didn't alter their practice.
Yeah, they didn't alter their practice schedule.
Also, the implication being like Andy Reid, notoriously difficult training camp. They practice hard, they hit.
Yes,
I think the Patriots. Not quite the same level, but similar. Right?
And they run up that hill.
That is his. Is his point. Is that these teams practice hard. They play late every year.
Yes,
it doesn't hurt them.
Yes, I mean, Vic Fangio does not back down from his view on practicing.
And yet, too bad.
they went 88 minutes today. Which, look, this practice schedule is. I think Vic would be surprised to hear this. More arduous than it was 2 years ago or 3. I mean, there was 1 year when there was just every other day they practiced.
This is honestly the first 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, this is completely guesswork on me. I would venture to guess that these 2 days have been longer than the first 2 days of camp the previous few years, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but there was, I think it was 2023 where they had an off day every other day. Right. I feel, or a walkthrough every other day. And even when they were out there, they were going for an hour.
Yeah.
So I think that I haven't noticed anything different schedule-wise. Now it's only 2 days in. During the summer, during the spring, they did scale back. And they scaled back relative to 2 years ago. And Nick Sirianni said that was in large part because of how late the season went. Nick said yesterday, I kind of disagreed with the framing that Nick said this. He said, you don't get better at football by thinking about football. You get better at football by practicing football. I think you get better at football by thinking about football. I think that's why they have so many meetings also. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive.
Right.
But
both help you get better.
Yes.
Right.
But I think Nick wants to practice. I actually think a lot of the practice schedule comes from Howie and the medical and training staff based on their input. I think this is, and we've talked about this, this is an organization that I think the front office has more input than in some other places.
And the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd love to be a concussion uncle about this one too, but keep the guys healthy, get them on the field. Especially, there's you could sell me on your team is not that good, and you're trying to build a culture. Yeah. You really need to evaluate all the guys that you have, and this is if you have some injuries, that's okay. You're building something. When you have this roster that is so loaded, and it's we have this just power of talent over everybody else, just get them to the season.
And the Eagles are 4-0 in season openers,
right?
And they've tipped. I mean, last year they started 2-2, right?
Yep.
But the year before that they started 10-0. The year before that they were hot to start the season. So I actually don't think that they come out of the season worse off or slow. I mean, I do think training camp can be valuable, but I think Vic is obviously anchored down to his perspective.
Last thing on Vic, Zach, a couple, two down the roster guys who sort of perked my ear up with some gas from Vic. Did you notice those?
Gabe Hall.
Yes.
Okay. Gabe Hall is what practice squad is designed for.
Yeah.
Is essentially what he said. And then Mac McWilliams, was that the other one? Yeah, Mac McWilliams. Good. Same wavelength here. Mac McWilliams, he was saying that they think he can play the slot. They think he has a chance on the outside. They'll see what he does these next 3 to 4 weeks.
He even went so far as to say a very interesting player over the next month or so.
Yes.
To follow. You have a little takeaway on Mac McWilliams?
I thought he looked pretty good in the clips that I saw, not the clips, the reps that I watched him. Obviously, look, I liked Mac McWilliams when he was in college. I projected him as like a third or fourth corner potentially. We'll see. We'll see what he can. The fact that he what do you think his upside case is for Mac McWilliams as a rookie, role wise?
The upside case?
Yeah, like
the upside case.
The upside case.
Starting nickel.
And
nickel. Cooper DeJean is on the outside. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the upside case is Adoree Jackson's not on the roster and he's the fourth corner.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a more realistic one.
Yeah.
But if we're going just
right,
shooting
right.
Although Nick was really gassing up Adoree Jackson this summer. We didn't talk about this. We had, Bo and I were in this small group session with Nick. The story's up on allphly.com from last week.
I'm a diehard, $36 for a full year.
But one of the things Nick was talking about was motivation for this year, and he's like, he's real hungry for players or for people who haven't experienced that to experience it. He's like, so Adoree Jackson, I want Adoree Jackson to experience it.
Yeah.
I want Parks Frazier to experience it. Yeah.
There aren't that many. It's
like, but it was just like it's like
Matt Fryer. Well, I guess he was on the 17. No, he was drafted at 18. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't view Adoree Jackson as like, win this for Adoree.
I know.
Charlie Hewitt.
Yeah. But when he brought that up, I was like, man, him and Adoree are.
You know what I kicked myself for? I remember in that session, I then followed up. I was like, the flip side to that is like, how do you feel about the guys who are no longer here? Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I asked them the exact same question in 2023 after they went to the Super Bowl in 2022. So no new ideas for me.
That's not true.
I'm out. I'm just recycling questions.
Yeah, you had a good question. You had a number of good questions today, but the Jordan Davis you asked, because we moved on from this when you mentioned it.
Yeah.
You asked Jordan Davis what it's like for everyone to have this fascination about his body, which is
you think about this all the time. Like
we've always discussed this. Yeah.
Like it's so weird to have this. On one hand, a guy like Dallas Goedert, where you have this kind of antagonistic relationship with your body. Like why can't I just stay healthy even if there are fluky injuries? So like this is your livelihood. And then also if you're Jordan Davis, like, oh, the whole city of Philadelphia is talking about my belly.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, please don't take this the wrong way as like a draft analyst, but I always laughed at like that Senior Bowl weigh-in. When
one of the worst things.
When they were all like, they have like the notepads out. Yeah. They're so excited like to see.
Well, they don't do it that way anymore. It's not public, at least.
It's not public for media anymore.
But
they still do it that way.
Oh, I remember the first time that was talk about culture shock. The guys walking up in just spandex, nothing else.
Yeah.
And it's like
spandex is
and it's just an auditorium filled with people just like. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Too much wiggle in the front.
Exactly.
And there's like there would be 3 guys every year where you could like hear the
And actually, my favorite part of the whole of every of them is everybody has the same sheet they're working off of. When you hear everybody flipping the sheet over at the exact same time, you're like in stereo of one sheet going to another, like. All right, time to keep going. No.
Yeah, and then
jiggle.
And then like, and then when the numbers come out and everyone's like, the hand size is not what it needs to be. And like, look at this wingspan. And there's no other context in which like how freely we speak about somebody's bodies is acceptable as in pro sports.
Meanwhile, Fran and I, we had a bit of a discussion today about
We did.
the bodies have changed and the high waist and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's there.
For the players, mean?
Yeah, because the stuff. I mean, look, it's not the most important thing, but it is important in terms of, and that's like the body typing aspect of it. That is honestly, it's probably the number one reason why scouts go to games is for that exact reason, is to start body typing those players.
Yeah, I remember reading something on Sam Hinkie. This is probably 10 years ago now. On the Sixers would do, I think it was called a body fold test. Like they would test like like the fold in your belly or like how So it was very like specific. But yeah, how advanced like some of the measurements are.
Interesting. You mentioned Adoree Jackson as the other corners turn today. I think you see lots of tweets about like who's practicing with the ones at just they literally rotate every other period.
Every other period right now.
So Adoree Jackson got to go first today, whereas Kelee Ringo went first yesterday. But they're rotating every other period.
Yep.
Until that changes, it's a one-on-one competition.
And safety was a rotation too.
And safety is, and it's a more complicated rotation.
Right.
They seem to have a lot to go with it. But Makuba got the first reps today next to Reed Blankenship. 5 different guys got reps with the ones
Andre
today.
Sam was out there. Yep.
Andre Sam was out there with Reed Blankenship at one point. They're playing Makuba and Sidney Brown together with the 2s.
Yep.
Tristan McCollum got some reps later in practice. That one is at least at the moment much more up for grabs.
Yeah. It's honestly, that's why like I didn't even try to bring it up early, just because it is a complete mishmash right now in terms of throwing those guys out there and rotating them.
And Kelee Ringo, after yesterday's difficult day, I thought he bounced back okay today.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about yesterday. Like, I didn't see
one play that
rep and
matters.
team, but it was like he gave up the one play to AJ on a vertical throw, and then the other one, like
fun.
Tanner McKee beat him on it was a great anticipatory throw from Tanner McKee on the outbreaker to Terrace Marshall. And those were the 2 where I was like, okay,
Well, the one getting beat deep by Terrace Marshall.
That was another one. I think
that's the one that I think mattered.
Yeah, So I think that
I think that's when you were on with Anthony.
Yes, exactly right. So yeah, I think when you're looking overall, Kelee I thought was positively quiet today.
I think so. Anybody else jump out to you today, Zach?
By the way, someone's telling me that the Zach Bond and Smitty mixed zones were tacked on to the end of the podium interviews. Okay, thank you. I got to scroll through. I got to scroll all the way through. I was looking for the separate video.
The fact that mixed zone is now part of the vernacular is outstanding.
Mixed zone goes back. That's what in soccer and like the
the
Olympics.
Olympics.
It's more like international media coverage. That's what you usually get. You don't
Got
get
it.
locker room.
And it's not technically a mixed zone because a mixed zone what's supposed to be is the players walk through there.
Yes.
And you pick them up as
That's
a
not how
Exactly.
this goes.
It's not
Yeah.
a mixed zone.
Yeah, so it would be like we're standing there, and any player who walks through, we
you can try to grab.
We can pick off. The mixed zone is like the reporters and the players are in the same area. Who else stood out tonight? I think we really covered the bullet points there. I thought Moro Ojomo had one good push up the middle.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Forced Jalen to move
right.
yes,
right.
exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, Moro stood out there.
Okay. You got a couple like body type first impressions for some guys.
I did.
Give you a chance for.
Okay, so
One guy we like,
who was it?
Miles Hinton.
Oh yeah, right. Yes, Miles Hinton looks of the young offensive linemen. He is the one where you just like you get next to him and you're like, yeah, this kid is like really well put together. Looks the part of an NFL.
He looks like a veteran.
Yeah, like the other young guys. It's not that they don't have like impressive physical traits. It's that you can see like, all right, development is.
They're gonna
needed
need some
here.
work.
Yeah, they need like that year on the It's the Gabe Hall.
Yep.
He needs some time on the practice squad kind of deal. From a physical standpoint, Miles Hinton looks the part. Ty Robinson is another one. Like when Ty Robinson is in his stance, like down hand in the dirt, like looks the part of an NFL defensive lineman to the point where like, and we talked about this when we did the defensive line episode. Was that last week? It was last week, right? So where I've come around a little bit on the Ty Robinson selection in the draft. All right, like you pick him in the 4th round. I was never super like huge on his upside, but honestly, I don't know if this team cares about the upside because you kind of needed a high floor player when you lose Milton Williams. Some of the guys they lost, I think adding a guy to the rotation that like he can come in and contribute. I think there's value there.
You think he outsnaps Thomas Booker?
It's a good question. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see it going the other way too. Booker was out there with the first team ahead of him today.
Right. When they go 5-man defensive line, he works with the ones.
Yep. At defensive end, not at nose, because Jordan Davis obviously in at nose. So showing that versatility is big because we know he was the backup nose last year.
How do you guys feel about the aesthetics of Ty Robinson with the no gloves, no tape, just bare arms?
And no pad, no lower, like he wears like the super tight, like almost like the bike shorts as well. Really showing off the glutes.
Yeah.
Good vibe.
Yeah, I mean, Nolan Smith goes no gloves as well,
Yep.
so I've become conditioned to seeing that. No issue with the Ty Robinson aesthetic.
Okay.
They did a new drill today I've never seen before.
Oh yeah, you were very excited about that.
Yeah, so actually, I kind of liked it. It was during the individual period. It was the wide receivers and the DBs, the linebackers were a part of it as well. So it would be a wide receiver with two of the defenders. I don't know if did you guys watch this one? So there'd be one defender.
Heard about this?
Yeah, you guys heard about this drill? So there was one defender that was on the receiver's
crazy.
Yeah. So the receiver would work back to the quarterback. The defender would stay on the receiver's back hip and would try and like rake his arms through the catch point. So you have the receiver trying to deal with the defender through contact. The other defender would start and run the opposite way with his back turned to the quarterback, then put his foot in the ground and come back down and take an angle to the football. For a team that plays as much zone coverage as they do, I thought that was a good drill.
I like that.
The receivers working on making a play through contact. The other defenders working and trying to get in the ball down, and the other one's trying to all right, take your eye off the ball.
Two people getting in good work at once.
It's good. I like that drill. That was the first time I ever saw it.
So I'm going to read a quote to you.
Okay.
Please let me know if you think this is where it comes from. Okay. This is from Nick Sirianni back in June in a small group session.
Makes you the best, Zach.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. He said, it's really been fun going through everybody's get better tape and the things you can do to improve. I've gotten great things from the players also. Like Devontae Smith, I'm sorry, he said, like Devontae Smith, we were talking about something that we wanted and he wanted to improve on. And he's like, we used to do a drill at Alabama with that very thing. So we looked into that drill and now we're doing that drill. And I'm like, man, this drill is going to help us do that thing better. It's going to help us tackle better. It's going to help us. Do you think that's the drill?
That could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it.
So I'm going to follow up with Devontae and find out more.
Yeah, because that second defender that I was talking about, they turned, and the big thing that I would imagine that they're coaching, they were doing it 60 yards away, so I couldn't hear all the coaching points, but they're taking the eye off their eye off the ball, so it's like they're retreating in zone coverage, and then they turn back and have to find the ball carrier wherever that receiver is and take a good angle, and then they're not tackling, but just try to fit them up. I thought that was a good drill.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. Good stuff. We have a super chat, I believe. No.
Oh, see? You get him in.
So Nolan Smith today, speaking of Nolan Smith.
Spend your money, people.
Nolan Smith did a lot of reading this summer. He goes out to California, and he read a book. He says he's a big reader. He just doesn't advertise it the way AJ does.
He said this?
Yeah, where he says he's not out there.
Sideline.
He's not out there like AJ does. But I asked him what the most meaningful book that he read this summer was. Unfortunately, he did not say The Franchise or Underdogs. Leap Year's coming out in 61 days. Just want to put that out there.
Counting days.
What's that?
Countdown ready.
Yeah, countdown. There might be a tweet about that tomorrow. The 60 day notice. Yeah. Yesterday was 2 months, but I thought it would kind of get lost in the training camp.
Okay.
Ones, so a little behind the scenes there.
Okay. You didn't want to go with a Roger Maris type hook for today? 61?
I was going for an off day for the Eagles. So because my morning tweets typically I put the show out from the day before, the schedule out for today, and then the article. So that's that. Anyways, Nolan said he read a book about he called it self-resilience. It's like 7 steps to self-resilience. And he found it to be very meaningful to him. He's even brought it to the locker room to share. He said that he's really trying to also become in touch like with the spiritual side. Out in California, he said they don't have a lot of churches. He has to kind of find it on his own.
I feel like that's probably wrong.
He says, you have to understand, I'm from the South living in the North.
Contextually, it might be the case.
I was out in California and there were no churches. And so he had to find his own, he had to find God, so to speak.
All right. Well, we are going to Google whether or not there are churches in California and give you the answer coming up in
Overtime.
How quickly are you going to download that book to read?
So this is why I said what I said is that I looked it up. I wanted to give the author credit. And there's a book, The 7 Steps to Self-Reliance, not self-resilience. So I did that. But then there's another book about self-resilience, but it's not a 7-step guide. So I'm not sure. And I was going to follow up with someone who knows him, but I thought that'd be like a really minute thing to try to figure out. And so maybe I'll follow up with Nolan. He also, and you heard this on the Exciting Mics. If you watch the Exciting Mics, you saw this. He got his haircut. I asked him about it too today, and he said that he just wants to look more presentable. So he doesn't have he's very close cut hair now.
Google's broken. Doesn't work.
Google's broken?
Yeah. AI broke it.
It's not good for YouTube.
My POV life. Rank the top 5 food student unions you've been to, Zach.
Well, like I typically don't eat in student unions. That day I had Chick-fil-A.
Just
that
there to watch.
I thought that was the reason you went.
No, I usually go to the bookstore in a student union. Okay,
Got it.
Or well, no, I'm saying like everyone knows the best food on a college campus is usually on like the main strip, right? Like that's where you get your dollar slice type of stuff.
And that's the best food.
I mean, yeah. I'm not. The great thing about a college campus, great thing about college food is that you can get good meal for under $10 any college you go to, right? That's what's great about like college food. It's built for college students, right? So yeah, affordable food is terrific. It's comfort food. It's fast, but you usually find that on like the main strip. The student union I went to, I was looking for a Chick-fil-A that day.
Yeah.
And that was the closest Chick-fil-A. But I go to the student union often if I'm on a campus, like to go to the bookstore, right, to get something there. But I mean, when I was at Syracuse, I used to go to the Taco Bell at the student union. That was where our Taco Bell was on campus. And
really fits with the crumble cookies narrative.
Insomnia, not crumble.
Sorry.
Crumble's totally different. Totally different type of cookie crumble.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 First off, Crumble's not open that late.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Crumble's not delivering.
Yeah. And Crumbles, you're like, your crumble cookies like $5 eclectic treat. You know, Insomnia, you're getting well, back then before. Well, I hope they advertise with us. So, I like Insomnia, but local company. But back then, when it was a startup, right, they had like the real big soft baked cookies. And those were just out of this world.
What was your go-to?
When I was there?
Yeah.
Well, I would get the sampler pack, right? And so I would get the M&M, of course, the sugar, and then the chocolate chunk.
I always liked the was it like a s'mores? Like
oh yeah, but that was the
deluxe.
That was the deluxe. Yeah, no, I didn't go with the deluxe package. I would just get the base package. The base package was sufficient for me back then.
I was going to try to make a joke about like the next level of stoner food that you could be going after and just to continue this this path. But to the point of how broken Google is, I Googled most popular stoner food. The #1 result, hummus.
Is that right?
There it is. You nailed it, Google. Thanks, AI. You understand the human race better than we do.
Jeez.
Julia's like, I've never had hummus.
What is that? Give me a break. What do you got?
I was gonna say, do you like hummus?
No.
Well, you're setting me up for my joke? Is that?
No. I'm asking, like
I've actually, Kenji Lopez has a very good recipe for homemade hummus, which I've followed a couple times, and I like the creaminess of a homemade hummus. Very good.
Okay.
The store-bought, like the store-bought hummus.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, Michael Salmonov came out.
Yeah, I mean, you get like a high quality hummus. I'm in on.
But he had it was just a hummus like fast casual restaurant. It was just hummus basically,
right.
And I used to go there. I remember vividly being there reading the ESPN report on Robert Kraft.
Which one?
About
Orchids of Asia.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I remember reading that story.
Just slurping on some hummus.
No, I mean, I don't know if it was my iPad or my phone, but I was waiting for my hummus and I was reading while I was there. Yeah. I'm not like, I was talking about this the other night with somebody. I'm not like a doom scroller. Is that the term? Like, I don't just like, and I probably should do this to kind of get more into the times, but like people will like look at just the Instagram videos after Instagram video, just like scroll through the videos, just like the shorts. Real, I don't do that typically. Now I read a lot on my phone, but even like I don't scroll through Twitter just like aimlessly a lot either. But I do have Twitter in front of me here, and we should give an update to the audience here. If you are just watching this and you haven't read with this is not Eagles related, this is Flyers related, but our Charlie O'Connor just had this up, and this could be of interest to our viewers. Former Flyers goalie Carter Hart is found not guilty in the Hockey Canada sexual assault case. Wow. It seems, yeah. So breaking news on the Flyers beat.
Job from Charlie.
Yep.
Okay. Flyers Q&A, August 4th. If you become a diehard, you can get your Flyers info there. Okay. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. We are back tomorrow at 2 o'clock, walkthrough, so we won't have practice to talk about. We'll take a little bit of a step back, maybe get on the record with where we think some of the position battles are going to go, put some turkeys on the line, and then track that over the course of the summer. Some other stuff. That'll do it. Fran, Zach, Julia, thank you very much. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening. We will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.